Hello everyone, this is Ross from retrodreambeam. I'm an eBay seller full-time. I've been doing this with my fiance Netta for more than 3 years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm about to go into what we're shipping out today on Wednesday. A lot of good stuff still. January has been insane for us. It's only like halfway through, but we'll see how it keeps going. All right, first up is going to be this. This is going to be a skeleton like Jenga, so not like a regular one. It's not the official brand. It's called like Kickerland or something like that when I was looking at it. But you have the skeleton, all the little bones. People like to play these classic family games. This one stuck out to me when I saw it. I'd never seen like a different version of Jenga like this. So it sold for $21 plus shipping. Everything's going to be plus shipping. All right, moving along, we have some Chess X dice. This is going to be a specific type. It was like Slime Vortex. Chess X is just a huge dice company. They give names to all of their dice. They'll have something, they'll let you know like the millimeters. Usually they come in like little containers, usually like 30 for bricks of dice. So this doesn't have the container. I actually got 2 sets of these, so 60 of these dice as a throw-in for another collection. I think it was like a card game collection. And when I looked these up, ChessX will go through different variations of their dice as they try to innovate on themselves. So sometimes they'll just stop making or producing certain colors. So this happened to be one of the rare colors. This ended up going for $31.49. That's a lot for like a ChessX dice. But there are a lot of different dice brands, and specific ones can go for a lot. So yeah, that was pretty cool because this was like a throw into a collection. I didn't realize it was good until I went to list it like months later. All right, moving along, we have Mech Warrior. This is going to be Dark Age. This is going to be the miniature game by WizKids. It's not around anymore. This is the special ability card. Sometimes they'll just call it like a pack. Powers and ability cards is what they call it for HeroClix. So you roll it out here, and it lets you know every special ability based off of color. So right here on like the certain spot on the dial, these are dialed figures for the missiles. If you have red, you have armor piercing. If you have blue, anti-personnel. And then if you have black, streak missiles. So this just lets you know when you look at the color on the base, if it's surrounding a number, the number is like usually has to do with dice rolls. And then the color is like what the actual ability you have. So this goes through all of them. This sold for $8.39 to repeat buyer. I have more of these because I got a huge Mech Warrior collection, so I just relisted another one. So that's the stuff that like some people don't list because they think, you know, it might be too cheap or someone won't buy it. But like people, sometimes they just want the individual like rules sheets and stuff if theirs gets damaged, or they want to teach a friend and they only have one, so they want their buddy to have one. All right, moving along, we have Doing a Good Business, 100 Years of the Bon John. So I think this is just going to be a hardcover book with a bunch of, I don't even know, some kind of club or some kind of fashion. I think like it's about fashion. There's a lot of different like clothes and stuff in here. Sorry, I don't want it to get like damaged as I go through it. So I don't remember where I got this one. We get a bunch of books. So well, this sold for $17.50. I'm sure I looked more into it when I listed it. I don't even remember listing that one at this point. All right, next up, I just got this recently in my Warhammer collection video. And sometimes like all the scraps or the side stuff sells first before the main parts of my collections I get sell. So this is going to be Warhammer Age of Sigmar Shattered Domain. These are bases. These are going to be like detailed bases. It's not, they're not painted. People have to paint them. This was 75% complete, so it's missing one of the sprues. There was like supposed to be 4 sprues in there. That's fine. People still want extra bases. They don't need like this thing to be complete. This sold to repeat buyer for $28.87. Warhammer stuff's pretty good. I listed all the paints. I listed that whole collection. It took me like a day and a half. It should have taken me a day, but I forgot why I didn't get through it within one day. It took like a day and a half. All right, move along. Busilla. This is going to be a counted cross stitch. This is just like country windows here. We used to get a bunch of these. These were kind of what we started on eBay. And then I would go to thrift stores. We would find a bunch of these for like a quarter, 50 cents, $1. And then people liked, and they still like doing it to this day, the cross stitching, getting like yarn, selling that kind of category and stuff. Like people love it and they love doing it. It's really relaxing for people. This one only sold for $6, but we sold like ones with, I guess, more interesting images that people can make for a lot more, 30, 40, 50. So that was kind of what we started, but at some point we couldn't find them near us anymore. So maybe we bought them all out, or like, you know, other people realized that they were also good to find them at thrift stores to do them themselves, or they were flipping them themselves and realized it was a good category. You never really know. All right, like where like, you know, you find a bunch of stuff and I know where you can't find it anymore. Next up is going to be this. This is going to be a game science dice or die, a singular die. This is going to be 0 through 9 twice. So some of it's inked So I think you roll 2 of these. One number will give you like the single digit. The other one will give you like the tens. So I think that's the point of some of them being inked and the other part not being inked. So I had to, so this is not a D20, even though it's the shape of a D20. This sold for $18.37. So getting pretty lucky with the dice today. I did get like a mini dice collection like a bit ago. I don't remember at this time, sometime recently. All right, moving along. And then I got some brass stuff, or was this brass or bronze? Brass, either brass. Yeah, brass stuff. These are 2 seals. This is going to be like home decor. This was popular at some point when she got like an auction for some of this stuff. I think we spent, or she spent like 20, 28 bucks on like, it was these seals and two other like sculptures. So we definitely made money on that particular little auction bid, an online auction. $42 for these 2 to repeat buy. A lot of repeat buyers. I didn't realize it until I was looking at like the actual stuff right now. But yeah, I don't know if this is still in style, but home decor goes through like different phases where some stuff is popular, then it goes, not as popular, and then it goes back to being popular again. So it really just depends on like what the feng shui of like people is moving at the time. I don't know. It's an interesting concept that these different categories, like it might be MCM at some point or something like that. Like people, I don't know all of it or any of the details, but I know it changes like the popularity, kind of like other stuff, books, movies, games, they go through like different phases of popularity. Next up is going to be this kids labs intruder alarm, just a little kits, like a those little science kits you get for like a kid, and they get to figure out something mechanical. There's a bunch of different craft kits and stuff like that. That's kind of what this one is, making it like a little alarm for your door. This ended up going for $9.45. Also, I have no idea where I got this one. I don't even remember this one either. All right. Next up is going to be Gloomhaven, just the ooze tokens, the monster tokens. Gloomhaven is going to be this fantasy game by Cephalo Fair Games. You'll have different monsters and scenarios, and then they'll have this deck of cards. This deck of cards lets you know at what initiative number that they go, and then also like what the monsters do for their turn. The oozes, there is going to be, I believe, 10 of them. Their main thing is they are ranged, but they also can't have one of the or 2 of the cards in here multiplies them, where they lose a little bit of health, but then they get another figure. So eventually they'll get some cards that do some ranged attacks or a bunch of attacks. So you have to kind of like, they have a lot of health. They split up. They're annoying. They're kind of like a monster that you have to deal with, or else they get out of control. But also towards the end of them, as there's only 1 or 2 left, if they only have a couple health, when they split, before they split, they lose health. Some of them can actually kill themselves because they'll have like 2 health, and then they'll lose 2 health, and then they disappear before they split. So it's a weird monster. Definitely a lot of people think that these are annoying because they just, take a lot of time to deal with in the game. In the game, you're timed on how many cards you have in your hand and your stamina, because you start losing cards permanently within scenarios. So yeah, I actually always thought the oozes were technically easy. They don't, just because a lot of their cards that they pull over, they're kind of just doing like dirtily stuff. They're not really attacking you too much. So I always felt like they were slightly easier. But I know a lot of people think they're one of the most annoying Gloomhaven characters. All right. Someone must have just wanted some more, throw it into a different Gloomhaven game because they're modular. Maybe they want to throw them into like Jaws of the Lion. I don't know if they have. I know they have like the Blood Oozes or something like that. It's been a bit since I played Jaws. All right, moving on. We have Kamigawa. Not Kamigawa. Is it Kamigawa? Kamigawa Battle Rise of the Cthulhu. Yeah, Rise of the Old Ones. So this is going to be a Japanime Games board game, but these are going to be promo cards for them. Japanime Games. They're at a lot of conventions. They do mostly just anime type of games. A lot of them are just card games. They have like hundreds of different games that they sell. They're really successful. They give out a lot of promos. I think they do Kickstarters. They'll do releases at conventions. They're a big company. They're not my favorite. There's not too many games that I think I played of theirs that I like, but I know a lot of people like it. So I know people pick up the promos, and they have like a good, I think, business model. They go to conventions. They have a lot of product. They do promos for people. Their games are good enough. They're not just like slop games. $18.37 for that. All right. Moving along, Advanced Squad Leader. This is going to be more of the boards. You see me keep selling them. This was a random assortment. This was not in order. It's boards 4, 10, 11, and 24. Up here in the top left corner, it's going to show you what number it is. The earlier the number, the earlier it was in the game. Like the base game has like the first few. Lots of modules for this game. You set up scenarios. You need these boards to set up either scenarios from scenario cards or custom ones that players make themselves. $26. $1.59. All right, next up is going to be 7 official Games Workshop square. I forgot what millimeters they were. I always forget like the millimeters. These are going to be little bases, like the official ones. Where did I put them? I have like piles of miniatures here, so I'll get to that in a moment. On the bottom of these, some of them say they're from GW for Games Workshop, and then these were from 1999, and I think some were 1995. People will be looking for the official ones. Also the size. These are like the goblin and dwarf size. And then maybe I think like the elves, like the high elves, wood elves, I believe. Some of the figures, like the infantry, will use these. And then they'll have different slots of like, are they diagonal or are they horizontal for like how you want the position of your figure. So do you want like the weapon that way, or do you want them to be like, you know, sideways like that? So people care about that stuff. These end up selling for $3.50. It took a slightly lower offer. Most of it's probably going into the shipping, but I usually make like a buck or so per each of these. So this is just 7 of them. But this was also a slightly different array where some of them had the slots, some of them did not. All right, moving along, we have a Blu-ray BBC Brazil with Michael Palin right here. Don't know anything about this one, but Annetta used to grab all these. I think she said to keep an eye out for the BBC, that people would pay up extra for these types of movies, Blu-rays and stuff like that. So she would always hunt these down. This one ended up going for $17.50, which is pretty good for a Blu-ray. All right, next up is going to be a lot of 30. These are D&G. I forgot what company it is. I don't think it's D&D. It's D&G bases from 2011. It says that also on the bottom. These are circular ones. These are, I think, 20 millimeter. So I think these could be for either some kind of miniature game or role-playing game. People are always looking for bases. I feel like people are still doing miniature projects because it's cold out for some people, depending on where you live. So a lot of time to stay inside and just figure out, you know, make some miniatures and role play. Dungeon masters will use these to put miniatures on them. You get lots of things you can use bases for, miniature bases. $17.49. Like I said, different brands will have different prices. All right, moving along, I made a mistake with someone. They bought a bunch of Spellfire cards. I had 2 lots that had the number 77. I just happened to have 2 lots that had 77. I shipped them the wrong 77. They sent me a message saying all of the cards were incorrect. I was very confused at the time because I was like, usually when I have like an odd number, when I'm going through a collection of Spellfire cards, you know, usually there's only going to be 1 lot with 77. Another one might be 97. I'll organize them by like 1 card of each in the sets. And then if I have multiple numbers of a set, I'll start making a new pile. So let's just say I have like, you know, 10 of cards 1 through 80, and then only like 8 cards of 81 through whatever. I'll do, you know, so many lots of up to 81. And when I run out, I start going to 80. So I usually have like, it's very clear about how many I have of each of these lots. I somehow sent the wrong set. They sent me pictures. I looked at my listings. I had that proper item in the storage unit. So I apologized to them. They shipped it back, and I said, whatever item you want in the shop, send me an offer, you know, whatever you want for my mistake. So they ended up just wanting a couple cards, and they found a different one of my lots that they wanted. So this is 40 cards. I actually triple checked that all of these are correct. This is the right lot. But yeah, this ended up going for $10, a lot cheaper than what I would normally sell it for. But I saw the person's name. I had to refund the rest. They shipped it back. So I relisted that as well. My mistake. So I said I'll take whatever offer they send on whatever item they want from me for messing up that bad. All right, moving along, we have a combo order. It's going to be, it's like 8 or so of, yeah, it's 8 of these. It's going to be, they paid twice, so $178, $179.20. Crazy sale. It's going to be a bunch of these miniatures right here. Battlefield miniatures, made in the UK. I've sold these ones before, and I keep getting good money for them. I still have some more listed. This one is not going to repeat buyer, but like it just has different identifications up here. I couldn't figure out what like the actual company, what the IF3 meant. This person also bought one IF2. Like I actually couldn't find what these were, so I just labeled them as Battlefield miniatures with the number in the packet. So I sold 8 of those packs for the dollar amounts. I said it was like $179.20. So that's crazy. Then next up, completely separate to this person, but a very similar category. They bought 23, and this is our #1 customer. This person's been buying from us from eBay for years, almost since like we started listing stuff within the first year or so. So we recognize this person. It is our #1 customer. It shows like the total amount they spend. But yeah, they've spent the most on us. They bought 23 of these fantastic miniatures. They happen to like the Napoleonics, like the ones with the Shako hats, like the more pointy type of hat. So yeah, they sent a bunch of offers. They send sometimes cheaper offers than what we would normally accept from someone else, but anytime I see the name, they always buy a bunch of stuff at once. They're always no trouble. They always let me know exactly what they want. It's kind of like a no BS situation, so it's super nice. So 23 of these packs, and I still have a bunch more Fantastic miniatures. I got like 400 or 500 packs at some point, and this person's come back for more. They also bought other stuff from us. Within the stuff that they bought from us, it's just like got these Brick Dust brand. Never really seen this one, but I had a couple of them. I think they bought 2 of them. They are Napoleonics as well. So they got 2 of these, and then they got, what's this brand? Is this Essex? I see a bunch of Essex. A lot of people have seen this brand before. So a lot of that, and this brand's actually called Smith Design right there. So they got like a little bit variety of everything, but mostly the Fantastic miniatures. $113. So cool back-to-back miniature sales. I have to be careful to make sure to ship the proper miniatures with the proper person, because the person who got 23 did get one of the Battlefield Miniatures brand. So I'm gonna have to make sure that I make no mistakes. All right, that's everything. A lot of rambling today. Thank you for sticking with me. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. Hope everyone's having a good week so far.